Now we will first go through the derivation of Poynting's theorem. Okay. Energy can be transported from one point to another by means of electromagnetic waves, and this rate of energy transportation or rate of energy transfer is all given by the Maxwell's equations third and fourth. So first let's check those equations. That is, curl E is equal to minus mu dou H by dou T, is equation 1, and curl H is equal to sigma E plus epsilon dou E by dou T. This is equation number 2. So you have two equations, and the first step is you are taking the dot product of E in equation number 2. So on both sides, both LHS and RHS, you are taking the dot product with E. Then equation 2 will be modified as vector E dot curl H will be equal to sigma E dot E will be E square plus epsilon E dot dou E by dou T. This is equation 3. Now let's consider a vector identity, that is del dot A cross B. This is a general vector identity where A and B are two vectors. Del dot A cross B is equal to vector B dot curl A minus vector A dot curl B. And here you substitute vector A as H, vector B as E. On substituting, you get del dot H cross E, that is equal to vector E dot curl H minus vector H dot curl E. So here you got this equation. This was a vector identity, and we substituted A is magnetic field and B is electric field. You got this equation, and trying to substitute this in equation number 3. So E dot curl H, from this equation you can write it as del dot H cross E plus vector H dot curl E. This will be equal to E dot curl H, that is equal to, from equation 3, sigma E square plus epsilon E dot dou E by dou T. Okay. Next, you can substitute for curl E. Curl E is minus mu dou H by dou T. So you can write del dot, this H cross E can be written as negative of E cross H, because we need it in this form, E cross H form. So negative of del dot E cross H plus this curl E is minus mu dou H by dou T. So it is minus mu into vector H dot dou H by dou T. So what you did here, curl E, from equation 1 you substituted it as minus mu dou H by dou T. So it became minus mu H dot dou H by dou T. That is equal to rest of it sigma E square plus epsilon E dot dou E by dou T. Okay, so you got till this, and now you are rearranging these terms. On rearranging the terms, you get del dot E cross H is equal to minus sigma E square minus epsilon E dot dou E by dou T minus mu H dot dou H by dou T. So you got like this. Let this be equation number 4. And another thing what you should know is dou by dou T of E dot T is equal to E dou E by dou T plus E dou E by dou T. Right, both E are same. So this you can write as 2E dou E by dou T. And dou by dou T of E dot T is dou by dou T of E square. So you can write E dou E by dou T is equal to half dou E square by dou T. Similarly, you can write one more equation, that is H dou H by dou T is equal to half dou H square by dou T. Now you are going to substitute this equation 5 and 6 in equation 4. So substituting equations 5 and 6 in equation 4, you get del dot E cross H is equal to minus sigma E square, and next you are substituting minus half epsilon dou E square by dou T minus half mu dou H square by dou T. Okay, this can again be written as minus sigma E square minus dou by dou T of half epsilon E square plus half mu H square. You can take like this. Okay, dou by dou T of half epsilon E square plus half mu H square. This is equal to del dot E cross H. Now in the next step, what you are going to do is you are taking the volume integral. Okay, you are taking the volume integral. You get volume integral of del dot E cross H. Del dot E cross H is equal to volume integral of minus sigma E square. Okay, this is volume integral minus sigma E square dV, and next is minus dou by dou T of volume integral of half epsilon E square plus half mu H square dV. So this is the final form of the equation, that is volume integral of del dot E cross H is equal to, here you write dV. Volume integral of del dot E cross H dV is equal to volume integral of minus sigma E square dV minus dou by dou T of volume integral half epsilon E square plus half mu H square dV. As you know that energy density in electric field is given by half epsilon E square, and energy density of magnetic field is given by half mu H square. The last step which we got was like this, that is volume integral of del dot E cross H is equal to minus dou by dou T of volume integral half epsilon E square plus half mu H square dV minus volume integral of sigma E square dV. We got like this. Then on applying divergence theorem, you could convert this part to surface integral on applying divergence theorem. So you got like this. So this is the final format of Poynting's theorem, that is surface integral of E cross H dot ds is equal to minus dou by dou T of volume integral of half epsilon E square plus half mu H square. What is the significance of these two terms? This is energy density in electric field and energy density in magnetic field. So to get the energy, you have to multiply with volume. This is the energy density in electric field and in magnetic field. half epsilon E square and half mu H square. And the rate of change is given by dou by dou t, and minus dou by dou t gives rate of decrease. Okay, so again you can check the significance of each term. Surface integral E cross H dot ds is total power leaving the volume. This is rate of decrease in the energy stored in electric and magnetic field, and this is the power lost due to conductivity. That's called the ohmic power. The power that is dissipated is given by sigma E square. Okay, due to conductivity some power is lost. That is given by ohmic power that is lost, and you can see negative sign. Okay, so total power leaving the volume is equal to sum of these two, rate of decrease in energy stored in electric and magnetic fields and ohmic power dissipated. So this is the mathematical form of Poynting's theorem. I hope this is clear. And here you can find this vector E cross H. This vector is called Poynting's vector, E cross H, this vector. Okay, this vector is called Poynting vector, and that's how this theorem is termed as Poynting's theorem. What is the significance of P vector or E cross H? It is the total power leaving the volume. So let's know more about this Poynting vector. P is equal to E cross H, and the unit is watts per square meter. That is power divided by area. That is a unit, watts per meter square. This P represents the instantaneous power density vector associated with the electromagnetic field at a given point. So whenever we consider an electromagnetic field, the instantaneous power density is given by P. Okay, it's power density, so it will be watts per meter square. Then when you integrate this over an area, this is power per unit area. So when you integrate P, okay, when you take the surface integral, what you get is the total power flowing out of that surface. To get the total power, you have to take the surface integral of Poynting's vector. Okay. Then P is E cross H. You know that any two vectors, when you take the cross product, it will be perpendicular to both the vectors. Okay, so x cross y means it will be x cross ay will be az. Just like that, a cross h is equal to ap means Poynting vector will be perpendicular to E and H. You know one more vector that is perpendicular to E and H. What is that vector? Do you remember what is that vector? We have learned in the last class. AK is equal to AE cross H. So these three are mutually perpendicular things. This is called propagation vector. This means, what is the significance of propagation vector? It points to the direction of propagation of the wave. So wave direction is given by AK. The same direction is given by P. So AP is also equal to AK. It points to the wave direction. So this meaning is also there for P. So you can say that it is along the direction of propagation of the wave. So P points along AK and points to the direction of propagation. So this Poynting vector also have the meaning that it is pointing to the wave. Okay, so that is another significance of Poynting vector. One is that it gives the power density, and when you take the surface integral of Poynting vector, you will get the instantaneous total power flowing out of the volume. Then it points to the direction of propagation of the wave. And this is just a pictorial representation of the entire Poynting's theorem. The mathematical form you know. Okay, so how much the power lost is split into these three components: stored electrical energy, stored magnetic energy, that is half epsilon E square, half mu H square, then sigma E square. Okay. And now let's get the mathematical basis of it. Let's assume that the electric field is, this is a common format in which we write. And here for the derivation we assume electric field to be in x direction and H to be in y direction. Second thing you need to know is intrinsic impedance. Okay. If you have E is at T, you can write H is at T. How? H0 is equal to E0 by modulus of eta. That's what we write here. Here E0, here E0 by eta, and e raised to minus alpha is the same here also. Then H lags E by an angle theta eta. So here cos omega t minus beta z, and here it is cos omega t minus beta z minus theta eta. So this is another thing. So you assume E is at t. Based on that, you write the equation for H is at t. And this is in x direction, this is in y direction. Okay, so this much is clear. Magnitude, to get, you divide E naught by eta. Then to find the phase, E and H will be out of phase, or H lags E by an angle theta eta. So you wrote like this and got the general equations. Okay. Okay, so let's move on to the next. To get the Poynting vector, you have to multiply E and H. It is E cross H. How can you take the cross product of these two? One is AX, another is AY. So AX cross AY will be AZ. Okay, as it is a vector only in one direction, after getting the direction, you can directly multiply the magnitude. So on multiplying the magnitude, you give E0 square by eta. Okay, E0 square by eta, e raised to minus 2 alpha z into cos A into cos B. That you are writing it as 2 cos A cos B is given by cos A plus B plus cos A minus B. Okay, you know this equation. 2 cos A cos B is equal to cos A plus B plus cos A minus B. To get, so when you multiply this, you get cos A cos B. So cos A cos B is equivalent to half into cos A plus B plus cos A minus B. So that is applied here. Okay, this is applied here. So it will be on adding these two, cos 2 omega t minus 2 beta z minus theta eta, that is coming here. Then A minus B, you get this minus this, so it will be theta eta. So you got like this. Okay, so what you are doing to get Poynting vector, you multiply E and H. Ax cross Ay, it is vector multiplication, and Ax cross Ay you got it as Az. Then magnitude you multiply directly. Then you have a term cos A cos B. To multiply that, you apply this equation, half into cos A plus B plus cos A minus B. Here you get Poynting vector. Next is to get the average value. Here it is a function of z and t. Okay, so to get the p average, so significance of this term is that first it has different forms. One is this is a Poynting vector. It's a function of both z and t. Here this is time average Poynting vector. For that you take 1 by t integral 0 to t p z t. Here you substitute this. Okay, so you have to integrate this with the limit 0 to t and divide by t. On doing this, you get p average of z. Okay, so this is called time average Poynting vector. This is called time average Poynting vector. So you have to learn that term. This thing is called, here it is, there is no t, that's a difference. This is the instantaneous value of power. It depends on z and t. It's a function of z and t. Time average Poynting vector is this. For that, 1 by t integral 0 to t pzt. Pzt is this. And you can integrate it separately if you want. But you can find that when you integrate this, the value you get is this. You can try integrating that. This term will be eliminated when you integrate and substitute the limit for t, and you can also substitute for t as 2 pi by omega, because here there is omega term. So when you substitute a limit, put this relation also, integrating and substituting this value, you get this answer. E naught square by 2 eta into e raised to minus 2 alpha z into cos theta eta az. This is an important equation which you should learn. This is time average Poynting vector. Okay, so how you get this value? By integrating this with the limit 0 to t and 1 by t. You get this answer, and this is important. You have to by heart it. Okay, and then the third format is this. To get the total power, what you have to do? Pointing vector is giving power by area. So to get the total power, you have to multiply by area. Multiplying by area is equivalent to taking the surface integral. So this is the final equation. So you have three equations to learn. This is the main equation. This is the equation for Poynting vector, instantaneous power, and to get the time average you learn this equation. This is time average Poynting vector, and to get the total power, this is the equation, that is just taking the surface integral of time average Poynting vector. Okay, so these are the three forms of Poynting vector. So unit will vary. This is watts per meter square and this is watts. Now let's check a problem. They have given a medium, non-magnetic medium. What is the meaning of non-magnetic medium? Non-magnetic means relative permeability is 1. Okay, so mu will be equal to mu naught. That is the importance of non-magnetic medium. Again, all the rest of the things are given. 4 sine omega t minus beta x. So that is the format. So you can, if you want, you can write omega is 2 pi into 10 raised to 7. Beta is given by 0.8. Okay. So then E direction is given by AE is given by AZ, and AK is given by positive x direction. So it is AX. So all these you can write. So AK is AX means what will be the direction of Poynting vector? That will also be in the same direction AX. So let's come back to the problem. Beta is given 0.8, omega is 2 pi into 10 raised to 7, mu is mu naught. Epsilon is, unless specified, you have to take it as epsilon naught, epsilon r. Here they have asked, so you cannot assume that it is 1. So all these from the question itself, you got all the data. So let's move on to calculating. Here we find that there is no term here there is no term called e raised to minus z. If I say like this, I say alpha is 1. If I say e raised to minus 2z, here you take alpha as 2, because the term is e raised to minus alpha z. Here that e raised to term is not there. Why? Because this term is equal to 1. That means alpha is 0. So if in the electric field equation there is no e raised to term, that means alpha is 0. So alpha is 0, that means medium is a lossless medium. So you can substitute which equation? In a lossless medium, beta is equal to omega square root of mu epsilon. So that equation we have to use. Okay. So beta is equal to omega square root of mu epsilon, and on substituting, you are substituting all those things. Mu naught epsilon, you already know the value, that is 1 divided by c. So omega by c square root of epsilon r. Then beta value, you know it as 0.8. C, this is from this equation. Okay, hope you know that. 1 divided by square root of mu. This is equal to 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. Okay, this value has to be substituted here, and you can get the value for epsilon r. Okay, so the rest you have to calculate by yourself. I am explaining the steps. Hope this is clear. Next, what you have to find out? You have to find out the value of eta. To calculate eta, again you know that it is a lossless medium. So alpha 0 means lossless medium. So sigma will be 0. So eta, the equation was square root of j omega mu divided by sigma plus j omega epsilon. Okay, here sigma is 0, as alpha is 0, it's a lossless medium. So it will be square root of j omega mu divided by j omega epsilon. This will be equal to square root of mu by epsilon. For doing the problem, you don't have to derive all this. We have discussed the electromagnetic wave propagation in the 4 medium, in lossless medium, in free space, and good conductor. You can directly apply it, or you can just recollect all these based on the idea behind each case. Okay, you can do in either way, or you can by heart all the special cases. So in lossless medium, it is mu by epsilon, and mu is mu naught only, because they have specified it is a non-magnetic medium, but epsilon, it is epsilon naught epsilon r. Again, square root of mu naught by epsilon naught is intrinsic impedance in free space, that we know it is 120 pi. So you substitute it, divide by square root of epsilon naught. That value you got in the last step, so you got the answer as 10 pi square. Time average power. I showed you the equations. So what is the time average power? It is this equation. Okay. The equation we have learned it. So I will write it again. The time average power, P average Z. This is the time average power carried by the wave. The equation we learned was E0 square by 2 modulus eta into e raised to minus 2 alpha Z into cos theta eta. And in the last equation we wrote AZ, but there is no significance for this. Why? Because we take the particular case. Here this pointing vector direction is always in the direction of propagation. So here it is moving in positive x direction, so it will be AX. Okay, so here you can, instead of this you can write it as AX, because this is the direction of propagation of the wave. And here what happens, there's alpha is 0, so this term is reduced to 1. That's why here there's no, this part is not there. Okay, E0 here it is 16 divided by 2 into 10 pi square into cos theta eta. Here it is it's a real value, so there is theta, it is 0, cos 0, that is 1 into unit vector Ax. Okay, so this is the answer. And you get this value as 81 Ax, and this is milliwatts per meter square, because it is 81 into 10 raised to minus 3, so 81 milliwatt, unit vector is Ax. Okay, you will get like this. And another method is, instead of using this equation directly, what you can do is, you have the equation for E. Okay, now you can write the equation for H from this. Here you can write H as 4 divided by 10 pi square. Okay, so you will get E0 by eta, you will get the magnitude H naught. Then rest you write like this, sine 2 pi into 10 raised to 7t minus 0.8x. Then another thing is minus theta eta. Here theta eta is 0 into you can write the direction. What about the direction? It will be like AZ. H, to get H, it is AK cross AE. So AX cross AZ, it will be minus AY. So like that, ampere per meter. You can get the H equation from this, and then you can multiply E cross H to get this value. Can do in both ways, but here what I have done is I have directly substituted the value. So now I got 81 Ax milliwatt per meter square. Now the last problem. Just to get the total power, what you have to do? You just have to multiply this value with area. So here area is given as 100 centimeter square. So to make it meter, what you do? 100 into 10 raised to minus 4 meter square. So I am trying to get the area. 100 into 10 raised to minus 4 meter square, you get the magnitude. What about the direction? To get the direction of a plane, what you have to do is, it is del f divided by modulus del f. This is how you get the unit vector. This equation also you learn. Unit vector an is given by gradient of f divided by magnitude of gradient. So here what you will get? Here it will be 2ax plus ay divide, this is del f, divided by magnitude will be square root of 2 square plus 1 square, that is square root of 5. So here how you can write? This is the equation. Normal vector, normal unit vector is gradient of f divided by modulus of gradient f. F here is function is 2x plus y minus 5. Here it is scalar, so it does not make any change. So it will be 2ax plus ay divided by square root of 2 square plus 1, that is square root of 5. So what you are doing is this 2x plus y is equal to 5. You are taking this unit vector an is equal to del f divided by modulus of del f. You got like this. Okay, here f is 2x plus y minus 5. On applying, you get the unit vector, and power was given as this surface integral is equivalent to power into area. So that is P average dot SAN. So what you do, 81 into 10 raised to minus 3 AX. This is P part and this is area S. We are taking the dot product of power into area as they are vectors. You will get the value like this. So hope it is clear. Pointings vector. First in the second part what you did was time average Pointing vector or time average power, and the last part we found out the total power by multiplying the time average power with area. Both are vectors, so you take the dot product. So do the problem by yourself.